Welcome back to Save the Pumpkins podcast. Once again, this is Amy.
This is Shane.
So,
We're talking about 2016's Pumpkin Pie Wars today, starring.
Julie Gonzalo, Rico Aragon, also known as Eric Aragon, Michelle Scarabelli, and Jennifer Juniper Angeli, and also Dolores Drake.
Yep, we'll talk about her in a jiffy. She's one of our favorites. But this is a story about Faye and Lydia. They were two really good friends, bakers in this small town in Emeryville, Ohio.
Emeryville, Ohio.
Emeryville, Ohio, and they were part of a. They were just really good friends, but they were both very good bakers. And this happened around the time of a pumpkin pie contest. And during this contest, I believe it is Lydia who tells Faye, "Hey, my dad wants to." She didn't tell her that was actually the problem. Her dad wants to invest in her to open up her own bakery shop, but without Faye. And Faye got her feelings hurt at that, so the two friends had a big falling out, and they decided they were going to go their separate ways and open up separate bakeries in town. So once friends, now rivals, right? Fast forward probably 20 years. Do you disagree with 20 years?
I'd say 20 to 25 years. Only because the kids are out of college.
That's great. 25 years. You're right.
Yeah.
So Lydia's son Sam is a great chef. Good. He's classically trained. He's a good, really good chef. He went to school for it. He wants to expand her bakery to include more items, not just, you know, pumpkin pies and whatever.
Right. He wants to bring
Yep.
more of a restaurant
Restaurant. Yeah.
feel into the bakery.
Yep. That's correct. And Faye's daughter Casey, she's not very she doesn't cook. She's an accountant. She went to school for it. She's very good at what she does. And you can probably tell where this is going. This is a common theme too in Hallmark movies where someone will help the other one. You know what I mean? For a common goal kind of thing. Anyway,
Well, the moms are very big into
competitive.
the
And
next competition, the
yep.
next year's coming
Each
up.
pumpkin pie contest that's won gives them the town respects, and they'll go to it ups their sales in their bakery. They mentioned that. Do you dispute that, or do you think I'm right about that one?
No, I'm not
That
going to
was
dispute that. I'll wait for my disputes
okay. All
when
right,
needed.
fair. They do at one point. She does mention that in the movie, though. I do remember it. She says, the sales go up in our bakery if you
Well,
if you
each one
win
I
the.
think is struggling to some extent
Yep, agreed.
in their
Mhm.
bakery. So,
Yep. So Faye gets hurt. She like falls off of a ladder or something, doesn't she? And she like, or she twists
she
her
yeah,
her
she
foot or
she
something.
hurts her leg
Yep, hurts her leg, and she can't compete in the contest.
because she can't stand for long periods of
Yeah,
time.
yep. And Lydia finds out about it, and she decides, well, that's not going to be. I don't. I want to beat Faye. I don't want to beat anybody else. So she decides that Lydia decides she's going to enter Sam in the contest, since Faye can't participate, right? And then Faye, she's hurt, so she says, well, my daughter Casey, she's going to take over and do it. So of course the children of the two friends wind up in this pumpkin pie baking
Right,
contest.
and the kids though too also have their motives for wanting to do this too. I mean, they're
Totally.
not overly, excited about doing it, but I think that Sam feels that if he could prove
Mhm.
himself, then maybe he can integrate his plan to
It's
have like a restaurant-like
it's in fact a
atmosphere.
deal. It's a deal he makes with his mom. He says, if I do this contest for you, we're going to talk about this bakery expansion thing. And of course, she just says, yeah, sure.
And because Casey is, understands the importance of, keeping the budget running and
Hmm.
the importance of keeping clientele that they
Hmm.
have already and getting more, she's a little bit, I think, eager to make that happen for her
A little bit.
family.
It seems like there's a little bit of pride for her too. She wants to, carry on the legacy. I think I'll step up and do the challenge a little bit ahead of herself, right? No, not recognizing her own limitations, but it doesn't matter. She's brave in that way. She wants to pick it up.
Hmm.
So the two kids who they go to lengths in the movie to show you they don't have anything against one another. They remember each other from when they were kids, and they kind of do a little very light junk talking, but it's played totally for cuteness. It's not a they don't hate it. They have nothing against each other, right?
Right. And the husbands too. They
The
have a
husbands
funny.
play golf together. Yeah, they're really
And if
funny.
they keep it in secret, because if they
Well,
knew
we'll
that their
get there, right? We're
wives,
not there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Spoiling it. So yeah, um, the two kids eventually realize, hey, this I'm not gonna be able to bake this thing. You know, Casey says, I'm not gonna be able to bake this thing. Will you teach me? And he says, yeah, will you teach me how to help put a business proposal together, right? I need to fix this thing going. I need to get the thing from my mom so she'll appreciate it and we'll expand the bakery, right? And so of course they work together to teach each other.
In
He go
private, in
in
secret.
private, very much so in secret. Yep, that's important. And he goes over to her place and they start talking about baking and then doing the accounting. And they, of course, they start falling in love. They start really liking each other. They have great charisma together. The actresses and the character, the actor and the actress and the characters, they have great charisma. Um, so they go back and forth. Nobody's going to know about anything. And then this Betty, the character played by what's her name again?
It's played by Dolores Drake.
Dolores Drake. Yep, she was in the Love Struck Cafe that we saw. That was really she was great in that as well. She's a little bit not so much a villain in that one, but she's in this one she plays Betty. Betty is a friend of Faye actually, and she goes over to speak to Casey one time in the bakery, and Casey's like, "Yeah, I think she has to use the bathroom."
Hmm.
Yeah, and she goes in the back and sees Casey's recipe. You don't see this happen on screen, but she sees one of Casey's recipes, which was the recipe that Sam was teaching her, and in kind of a weird, not so characteristic for a Hallmark movie, she steals the recipe and begins to bake this. I don't know, I can't remember what kind of pumpkin pie it was. It had like a didn't it have bourbon or something weird in it? Didn't it have
Well, it was a variation of her like pumpkin bread and
mm,
his variation of a crust. Like they were
yeah.
combining the two.
It's Sam and Casey,
Right,
not Dolores. Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. And she steals it and the kids somehow get wind that she's going to enter this pie that's the exact thing, of course, that they were going to cook. So they get together and this is the part that's kind of weird. They get together and join forces, and there's no rule in the contest that says that they both have to be that they can't work together. So they decide they're gonna work together, and of course, she's great. Betty's great the way she cheats and has the little like the little side eye like she's can take no blame for doing anything. It's just totally cheats. She's a little villain in a funny kind of way. Well, they find out it's kind of silly. The Casey takes pictures on her phone. I never like it when these movies use technology. Seems so weird
Well,
in some of these
they're
country
asked to
movies,
prove that she stole their recipe because it was
And they
he
take
said,
pictures. They
she
take
said.
pictures of it, yeah, and it's like her handwriting or something
Right.
on the recipe matches it. And so they find out the guy that's running the show or whatever the MC says, yeah, you've been disqualified. So they don't win because they make the best pie. They win because she's a cheater and they get her disqualified. So I left this part out, and this is really terrible retelling if I left this part out. But when they decide they're going to work together, they get with the moms and say, "Hey, you guys got to straighten this stuff out. This is ridiculous." And of course, the moms, in a really sweet, super sweet scene, maybe the best scene in the entire movie, one apologizes to the other, and you know how I get like sentimental in these scenes, right? When these people start to reconcile or whatever, they apologize and say, "I never really meant to hurt you," et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they decide they're going to work together.
Right. Been
They
missing their
miss each other,
friendship.
yeah. So of course, when the kids win the contest, we we fast forward a little bit, and
A year
everybody's
later.
yeah, a year later, everybody's working together. The kids are married, and the husbands who were now they get to play their golf game together, out in the open, not in secret. And they open up a restaurant bakery in both their names. I think it was it both their names, or is it just I think it's called like Semi Sweets Restaurant or something silly. I don't think it's both their names or anything like that. That's good. I actually, when we started to watch this, because this is one of those that if you look up fall Hallmark movies, you'll this Pumpkin Pie Wars will just show up. It's obviously produced a little bit better, and this Julie Gonzalo, they put her in movies where, like I mentioned the last movie that we did with her, the Falling for Vermont. She's got a very good presence, so she carries these things. She's very good. Everybody in this one's actually really good. But I actually, when I saw it, I thought Pumpkin Pie Wars. This sounds cheesy, but it sounds maybe not. I wasn't really into it, but I was surprised. I like it. I don't think it's I don't think it's what I would call the top, but it's definitely above
I mean,
middle.
it's predictable.
Yeah, but what do you think about it
But
overall?
I'm becoming a fan of Julie Gonzalo. I really am liking her in the movies that we've watched. So pretty much probably anything that she's in is going to be likable to me, I
Yeah,
feel. And like we said, that Dolores Drake who played
she's great.
Betty just brought a little bit of
Yeah,
that comic relief into the show. So she
she
was
reminds me. The Julie reminds me of your girl. What's the Monahan girl? What's her name?
oh, Michelle Monaghan.
Is it her
Yeah, I
or her
think you've
sister?
said
Yeah,
that.
it's her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she reminds me of her a little bit. Similar sort of plucky little, perfect for Hallmark movies, but actually a good actress. Well, the moms are really good too. We've seen the Jennifer and Jelly before, but I don't really know where. I looked it up and I couldn't
I
remember.
mean, this movie though was really based on baking and cooking, and so it didn't really bring the scenery away from the bakery. Like
No,
I think the only place
it
that
was
was
their
different
scenery.
was the Bake Off location. So it was kind of weird that we didn't really get very much
No, I thought that was a good fall, Bobby. You think it was a good fall vibe?
transition and
Okay.
like everything just took place right there. So
So also with these movies, there's a the conflict, whatever the quote unquote conflict is going to be, can sometimes be kind of hurtful. Like somebody has lied to someone or something like that. It can be sort of a difficult thing to get through. Not the case in this one. It's funny. It's she never believes that he was going to do anything to her. They like each other, and there's never a point where one of them is trying to go away from the other one. I think she
mhm.
goes and approaches him in like a bar or whatever towards the end to say, "Did you know about the whatever you were gonna take over and do something for my mom or whatever?" But it doesn't. Nothing ever. The couple they don't doubt their feelings at
Right,
any point.
right. And I always like when they at the end like jump ahead like 6 months or a year and kind of
No,
give you like
well, you
a
like all
look
of
as
these,
to
then I'll do that.
what came about. So so I really did like this movie, so I do recommend
Absolutely, it would be in the top few of the films we watch for sure.
okay.
Yep.
Well, join us again when we review another one.
Thanks so much, guys.